We often hear about the Roman Empire as a powerful civilization that gave the world roads, law, architecture, and a system of government that influenced the modern world. People talk about the glory of Rome, the strength of its army, and the greatness of its emperors. But that's only one side of the story. Today, we're talking about the side they don't teach in school, the crimes, the horrors, the bloodshed. War crimes committed not by some obscure tribe or wild invaders, but by Rome itself. Crimes so cruel they can chill you to the bone even 2,000 years later. Stay with us to learn the truth about what the Roman Empire did behind its polished image. 1. The total destruction of Carthage, 146 BC. Carthage was Rome's biggest rival for power in the western Mediterranean. For over a century, they fought wars, the Punic Wars. But the Third War ended not just in victory for Rome, but in complete and utter destruction. When Roman General Scipio Aemilianus led his troops into Carthage, it wasn't just a battle, it was extermination. Over several days, Roman soldiers tore through the city, killing men, women, and children. Survivors were sold into slavery. The Romans didn't stop at that. They burned the city to the ground. They destroyed its buildings, its culture, and its spirit. Some ancient stories even say they spread salt over the land so nothing could grow there again, a symbol of wiping Carthage off the face of the earth. While this part may not be fully confirmed, it reflects the cruelty behind their plan. Erase an entire civilization. Why did Rome do this? It wasn't just war, it was revenge, dominance, and fear. They wanted to send a message to the world. Challenge Rome, and you won't just lose, you'll disappear. 2. The siege and massacre of Jerusalem, 70 AD. The Jewish people had rebelled against Roman control. Tired of heavy taxes and disrespect for their religion, they rose up. Rome's answer? Crushed them completely. Led by General Titus, the Romans surrounded Jerusalem. They blocked food and water. People inside starved. According to historical accounts, some were so hungry they ate leather, plants, and even, horrifyingly, their own dead. When the Romans finally broke through, they showed no mercy. They slaughtered thousands in the streets. They destroyed the Second Temple, one of the holiest places in Judaism. They enslaved the survivors and carried them off to Rome. What makes this even darker is that many Roman citizens cheered this act. Titus even built an arch in his honor that still stands in Rome today. It shows Roman soldiers stealing sacred items from the Jewish temple. To the Romans, it was a victory. To the Jewish people, it was a nightmare that changed their history forever. 3. Julius Caesar's brutality in Gaul, 58 to 50 BC. Caesar's name is famous, but few people talk about the brutality he used to make himself powerful. During his campaigns in Gaul, modern-day France and Belgium, he led Roman legions in a war of conquest that killed over 1 million people, according to his own records. One of the worst crimes came when Caesar attacked the Eburones tribe. After a Roman defeat, Caesar wanted revenge. He ordered his legions to wipe out the entire tribe. Not just soldiers, but every man, woman, and child. His goal wasn't just to win, it was to erase the tribe from history. Caesar even celebrated these actions back in Rome. His writings turned his war crimes into a political campaign. And the Roman public? They loved it. He was seen as a hero. But let's be clear, the things he did in Gaul will be considered genocide today. For the slaughter at Illiturgus, 206 BC. Illiturgus was a city in Hispania, modern Spain, that had once supported Rome. But when Roman fortunes turned, the city sided with Carthage. Big mistake. When Rome came back under Scipio Africanus, they didn't forgive. They didn't even allow surrender. The Roman army entered the city and killed every single person, men, women, and even children. This wasn't just punishment. It was a message to all other cities. If you betray Rome, your entire population will be erased. This act went against the traditional Roman value of clemency. But by the time of Rome's expansion, fear had become the main tool of control. 5. The horror of Damnatio ad bestias. Rome loved public entertainment, but not the kind we enjoy today. In Roman arenas, people watched humans being torn apart by wild animals. This was known as damnatio ad bestias, or condemnation to beasts. Criminals, Prisoners of war and often Christians were tied up and thrown into arenas with lions, leopards, and bears. These killings weren't just executions, they were shows. People cheered. Children watched. The crowd celebrated the tearing of flesh and the screams of victims. The Roman government used this as both punishment and propaganda. Show the people what happens when you disobey. 6. The Asiatic Vespers and Rome's retaliation. In 88 BC, a mass killing of Romans took place in Asia Minor, led by Mithridates VI of Pontus. Over 80,000 Roman and Italian settlers were murdered in one coordinated attack. But the Roman response may have been even more brutal. Rome didn't just defeat Mithridates. They destroyed towns, burned cities, and killed tens of thousands in retaliation. Entire populations suffered for the actions of few. This back-and-forth violence shows how Rome used any excuse to crush opposition, not just on the battlefield, but by wiping out civilian populations. 7. Vengeance after the Teutoburg disaster, 9 AD. One of Rome's greatest military defeats happened in the Teutoburg forest. Germanic tribes ambushed and destroyed 3 Roman legions. Over 15,000 soldiers were killed. Their heads were nailed to trees. Rome was shocked, humiliated, furious. In response, the empire launched a series of revenge campaigns that lasted years. Roman troops stormed into Germania, burning villages and killing everyone they could find, men, women, and children. These weren't battles. They were massacres. Rome couldn't stand to be embarrassed. And when they were, they reacted with savage force. 8. Mass graves, Rome's hidden legacy. Today, archaeologists continue to find mass graves from the Roman era. In Vienna, Austria, a grave containing the remains of dozens of mutilated men was found. Evidence showed they died violently, likely during a Roman attack or punishment. These graves are a silent witness to what official Roman records often left out: the enormous human cost of building and maintaining an empire. We often focus on Rome's roads, aqueducts, and grand buildings, but beneath those stones lies a lot of blood. The Roman Empire is remembered as one of the greatest powers in history, builders of cities, masters of the battlefield, and creators of a vast legacy. But behind the glory was another story, one written in violence, fear, and cruelty. From wiping out entire cities like Carthage and Illuris, to the brutal massacres in Gaul and Jerusalem, to throwing people to wild animals for public entertainment. These weren't just acts of war. They were calculated crimes meant to control, to punish, and to dominate. The truth is, Rome didn't rise through honor alone. It rose by crushing its enemies, sometimes civilians, sometimes whole cultures. We can admire the architecture, the roads, the law systems, but we also have to confront the cost, the blood that soaked the ground so those structures could stand. History isn't just about what happened. It's about understanding why it happened and what it meant for the people who lived through it. And that's why we tell these stories, not to glorify, but to remember. If you learned something new today, if this opened your eyes a little more, hit that like button, share it with someone curious, and don't forget to subscribe. More truth, more untold stories coming soon.